Okay, so we're setting up a new domain in Cloudflare. So it's not been in Cloudflare before, but all we want to do is forward the domain to a URL, and we want to accept email to the domain. So, sales at yourdomain.com, support at yourdomain.com, etc. So we're going to do that in Cloudflare. It's a little tricky. There's a couple gotchas, and that's why we're doing this video. It's not hard though. It's pretty straightforward if you just follow the steps. So what we're going to do is first, when you add a new domain, it's going to import your DNS records. I just deleted all of them because I'm importing from Google Domains, which is a good product, but we just want to move away on this specific domain. And if I just try to continue like this, it's going to say you can't activate it. I mean, kind of can, but we're going to get started like this. So what we're going to do is add a record. It's going to be an A record. Your root domain always needs an A record for valid DNS. It's not a CNAME or something like that. What we're going to do is we need this to go through Cloudflare's rules for routing. So we have to put anything in here, but we're just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. And it needs to be proxied with the orange cloud to work. And we're going to do this same thing with www. So it just needs to be something. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. It doesn't matter. So now that we have our rules, we continue through and we have to change the name servers, which is not hard, but because it depends on which domain registrar you have, I'm not going to include that in the video. You just need to look for your name server settings. So it's going to be different for Google Domains, GoDaddy, etc. So now it says it can take 24 hours. We check the name servers, and it may or may not be quick. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We go through here, and depending on when you're watching this video, Cloudflare is probably going to change, what the quick start guide looks like, but I like the way it is right now. So I always use HTTPS. You don't have to minify anything if you're just forwarding. There's nothing to minify really. Leave on the defaults. Okay. So now if you check this, if you click this button to check name servers again, which it's like, okay, I already did that. It's going to say, wait a few hours, and you can just hope that it works pretty soon. So now we're going to create a page rule. This is what's required, and we're just on a free account here. So we only have 3 page rules. That's more than enough. So now we need to apply a page rule so that when someone visits yourdomain.com or www.yourdomain.com, you want it to go to a certain place. So we're going to create a page rule. And here's an example. What this does is supports all subdomains. So if it's www. If it's w2. w3. Testing. Everything is going to be forwarded, or sorry, everything is going to be matched. All subdomains and anything after the domain. So if it's yourdomain.com / opt-in, yourdomain.com / terms, yourdomain.com / home, it's all going to be matched. What we're going to do is set it as a forwarding URL, and we're going to choose 301 permanent redirect because we don't have plans to, build a new website within a month or something like that. Now, the URL we want to use is this Facebook page. But what if we want it to be something like, let's say this Facebook page, we go to it, and then we go to, okay, it's being difficult. I'm going to do it in another tab. So what if we want it to be /photos? So what we do is we match, we use a regular expression matching, and we put a $2, and that's actually matching within the redirect rules. So basically it just matches anything after the URL. This asterisk is the second match. And so we're using $2. So if you put yourdomain.com /photos, it's going to redirect to this URL /photos. Okay. So that's how to set up the URL forwarding. Now we're going to set up the email forwarding, and we're going to create a custom email address, and then we're just going to choose where it forwards to. In this case, we're going to put in sales, and we're going to send to this email address. Okay, so we've confirmed the email address. Now we want to add records and enable, because these MX records are missing. You know, we could manually edit them, but they give us a nice button to do it automatically. And it's still awaiting the name server update. And there are these other settings. Now on this one, there are options to either send to or drop. So what you could do is you could put sales sends to, and you could put, you know, newsletter drops, something like that, like something you never want to receive that email from, you can drop it. Now with catch-all, you can send to either the same or different email address, one of the ones that you verified. And catch-all is now enabled. I'm going to refresh. So whenever someone sends an email address to sales at or support at or any of the other, anything you can make up, including, you know, junk email like heybob@yourdomain.com, even though you don't have that set up and you don't want to receive email there, a catch-all address is anything at yourdomain.com is what's going to be forwarded there. So it's not risky. It's just you might get more spam than you want. And but the good thing about it is the flexibility. And catch-all addresses are not exclusive to Cloudflare. That's part of pretty much every email system. Okay, so that's it. We just have to await the name servers to be updated. But from there, we will be able to do the URL forwarding and the email forwarding. Another suggestion is to enable all the security settings that they suggest, but some of these options may not be available until the name servers happen. So don't worry about these until after you are confirmed on your name servers. So there we go. Hopefully you like it. And I made this video for you, and I made this video for me because this is something I've had to do quite a few times. And, you know, there's always that one step that you forget. So now we won't forget, but it is pretty simple overall. You know, root www, page forwarding rule, and then the email forwarding if you're interested in that. That's a newer feature. And this is all available free. And then if you want to use the registrar services where you pay Cloudflare for your domain instead of GoDaddy or Google, it includes free private registration, and it's cheaper than anywhere else. So it's always, I always recommend it. Cloudflare is very good. And in this case, free, or saving you money on your domain at least. So there you go. Okay, so after a while, we probably about half an hour, we finally got Cloudflare confirmed working. During that time, we were able to do the domain registration, transferring from Google domains to Cloudflare. It's not required, but you know, while you're waiting, why not do it? So the last thing we want to do here for security purposes, we are not sending email. This email routing is only for incoming email. But what we want to do is, here's a wizard for DMARC, which is part of sending email. We don't want to do that. But under record types, email record creator, if your domain sends email, you want to do these three things. If your domain is not used to send email, then you do want to prevent illegitimate email traffic to your domain. Okay, so what we're going to do is create the records for this so you can signal whenever an email is received by someone else from your domain, this will let them know, hey, that's not cool. All right, so we're going to put in the same email address that we were using. Actually, I'm going to put in my email address because the client's not going to know what they're supposed to do with it. And notice it goes into the DNS records here. So this is what it's going to do is SPF, DKIM, and the DMARC. So it actually is adding those three records, just like if your domain was sending email, but it's purposefully setting them to say that it's not supposed to be sending email. Okay, so now we've got our A records for the URL forwarding. We've got our MX records for the email receiving. That's what MX mail exchange records are for. And then TXT records are for the SPF records. Looks like this one might be a duplicate. Okay, so we tried a mxtoolbox.com SPF record validator, and notice it does confirm that you're not supposed to have multiple SPF records. So this one is basically what's happening, I think, is this one was added when we said that we do want email forwarding. And what it's doing is saying, basically Cloudflare is receiving it and then Cloudflare is sending it. So you should include the Cloudflare records. And this one's saying not to include any. So there we go. Now we have a green confirmation from MX Toolbox. And what we did was we decided to get rid of the one that came through when we told Cloudflare that we don't send any email. And we decided to use this one. So we're including Cloudflare, their own SPF record for email routing. And we confirmed that it's working and there's not any issues in terms of deliverability to Gmail. So for example, it's not going to the spam inbox, stuff like that. And it does look like it came from the sender that sent it to you. So everything looks good. This is the recommendation for how to set up your DNS records to receive your email forwarding. And then let's try the Facebook page forwarding. Okay, so if we're going to go to the domain.com/photos, it should take us to the URL/photos. Yep, it works. So there we go. Appreciate you watching and hope it was helpful. Let me know if you got any questions.